And thank you, Minister, for coming into the House with the Land Development Agency Bill, which the Fianna Fáil party obviously are supporting. And I suppose it reflects the result of the general election in 2020, when people voted for change, and particularly for change in the government's and the state's role in the provision of housing. And I think the electorate then quite legitimately asked, why have we got such a housing crisis of supply and affordability when we have so much land? And why is the state not providing affordable homes? Why are local authorities not empowered to deliver affordable homes? Why are they not providing affordable homes both to purchase and rent? And when we take the Affordable Housing Bill, which I'm delighted to say passed in the Dáil just yesterday, with cross-party support, albeit that the Social Democrats, for some reason, and a small minority of others, didn't support the provision of affordable housing by the state, I want to commend all of the other parties and independents who did support the Affordable Housing Bill, which is the most comprehensive affordable housing bill in the history of the state. And when we take it with the Land Development Agency, an agency that will be put, once this bill is passed, on a statutory footing, which will be charged with assembling and managing productively all state-owned lands. As others have said, the database they've already been compiling is impressive. It really does expose the extent of the available land to the state that isn't in productive use for the provision of affordable housing. And we're determined to reverse that situation. And we will reverse that situation through the Affordable Housing Bill, but also through this Land Development Agency Bill. And I suppose the big changes in the Land Development Agency Bill in recent months, and I very much welcome the commitment for 100% public housing on the public lands that are being identified as being suitable for housing in Dublin and Cork, and a minimum of 70% of social and affordable housing in every other location. And that's really important, because it wasn't good enough for us to give the local authorities the power to deliver affordable homes to purchase and rent alone. We need to actually support them as well by ensuring that any of the available lands have a designation for affordability and for public housing. And I suppose the fact that the Land Development Agency initially will have 1.25 billion of capital does give it a good working capital base, and the potential to increase that up to 2.5 billion. But one of, I think it was Senator Cummins mentioned already, scale is important. There's 9 sites and 4,000 houses already in train. That's really welcome. But we need massive scale, and we need significant scale within the next 12, 24 and 24 months and beyond. And I think in terms of setting it up as a development agency, that's very welcome. I mean, I've seen in my own constituency how a development agency like the Grange Gorman Development Agency can assemble lands. In that instance, it was the HSE lands, City Council lands, and is now, world-class leading university campus. The Land Development Agency as a development agency will have similar powers, but critically it won't have planning powers. And I think that's really important as well, because when we talk about the powers of elected members to our local authorities, we've spoken an awful lot about the powers that we're giving them in the Planning and Development Plan to control the making of their development plans. And in their development plans, they get to determine what lands are zoned for housing, what lands are zoned for recreational, industrial and other uses. Our local authority members are those who are closest to their communities. They are the people who understand best what their community needs in terms of housing. And it's the local authorities, if we're all honest about it, that have the tradition of providing housing, not just for those who need it most, but for their own communities. So it's really important that the development plans that our local authority members will determine how lands will be used in every local authority area. The fact that this legislation will then further determine other state-owned lands as held by the Department of Defence or Education or Justice, and ensure that in Dublin and in Cork it'll be 100% social and affordable housing. I think the fact that the Development Agency also, and as has been demonstrated in Shangana, will work to support local authorities where they've designated and zoned their own lands for housing, provide them with expertise, provide them with capacity. That's really important, because our local authorities, and I speak as a former local authority member who has been hugely frustrated by the fact that the local authorities weren't previously empowered to deliver affordable housing. And now that they will have the power to deliver affordable purchase and affordable cost rental, I believe our local authority members, our elected members, are both ambitious and capable of delivering for their communities, and I believe this agency can help them. I want to refer specifically to the Section 183 because the AILG and their president, Mary Hode, did come to our joint Oireachtas committee and made a very comprehensive presentation to the joint Oireachtas committee. And again, they demonstrated how close they are, how close their members are to their communities. And they argued very strongly on this removal of the Section 183. Now, Minister, I appreciate that we've all lobbied you, and I know all of my Fianna Fáil colleagues have spoken to you and have spoken to Minister O'Brien on this issue. It remains a significant point of contention for us. We accept that the Section 183 is only being removed when it comes to lands that are zoned for housing, and that it will not apply to every other piece of land that is designated and zoned in a development plan. But Minister, if we're going to do this, we believe, and we believe this very strongly, and we want to see it either in the legislation or the regulations, that if lands are transferred without applying the Section 183, that a time scale is put on the Land Development Agency to deliver housing on those lands. We believe that is the only reasonable approach. It is the only acceptable approach, I think, for our local authority members. And I would ask you, Minister, to come back on that. So I suppose to conclude, I see my timing is running out. We support this Land Development Agency. We think it has very significant potential. We believe it is accountable. We believe it will be accountable both to the Oireachtas committees, to yourself and to government. We believe that it has adequate funding to commence with, but we want to see scale on this. We want to see ambition from the Land Development Agency, and we want to ensure that our local authority members are both supported and resourced so that they can use the Affordable Housing Bill and the Land Development Agency capacity to deliver in every local authority around the country. Gur Magat.